In 1997 I turned 18 and could finally buy horror movies that were rated 18. Since maybe being 8 or so, my parents would allow me to watch horror, but now I had my own money I could legally buy my own. I was a college student who worked 3 hours each evening. During one of my college days I would have a 2 or 3 hour break between lessons, and even though it wasn't enough time to go home, it was enough time to head down to the video shops. One shop in particular, called Owls Records, sold music, band t-shirts and horror videos. Each week I would go down there and buy a film I hadn't seen before. Prior to this I'd seen Halloween 1, 2 and 3, and I liked them all for their own particular merits. So when I saw that Halloween 4 on VHS was sitting there on the shelf at Owls Records, it was an easy choice. I just picked it up and bought it. John Carpenter had nothing to do with this film after he sold the rights to Mustafa Akkad. What a rubbish intro. In any long series of horror movies, it's inevitable that the look of the characters will change due to budgets, makeup artists, what the producers want, contemporary styles, etc. Therefore, we can expect certain ups and downs in quality. Ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. Unfortunately, Michael Myers has the worst look in Halloween 4. His posture is awkward, his mask is non-menacing compared to the earlier and later entries. It's too white, lacks detail. The look of the villain should be important, but here they were either being risky with their choices or they just didn't care. Either way, Michael Myers in Halloween 4 looked really rubbish. Really, really rubbish. You'd hope for any movie to have good bits. It should be the aim of the filmmakers to make a movie that is comprised with good bits. Some bad movies even have a handful of good bits, be they good effects, or a funny joke, or likeable characters interacting. Halloween 4 has no good bits. Kids in a school is not a good bit. Donald Pleasance spouting the same reused dialogue again is not a good bit. Unlikable teenagers, who aren't actually teenagers, barely managing to hold together a basic B story holds no good bits. And a boring, dull-looking, slow Michael Myers produces no increased pulses for the bored viewers, and certainly no good bits. Halloween 4 has no good bits. You won't find yourself fast-forwarding to a good bit, you'll just find yourself skipping the whole film. It's no good bits, it's comprised entirely of boring bits. Sticking in an explosion for no reason does not make a good bit, it just makes an explosion that looks out of place and stupid. All of the characters are terrible. The main characters, the little girl Jamie, she's whiny, she's a brat, she cries a lot. I know that's her character, but it's a rubbish character. She's a lot better in Halloween 5 when she doesn't really talk. Dr. Loomis, Donald Pleasance, he's boring, he just has his usual whining about Michael's evil, on and on and on, exactly the same as before. And exactly the same as in Halloween 5 and 6 as well. I'm really tired of him and he's boring, he doesn't add anything to the film. I think if the film didn't have him in and had a new character, it would have been more interesting. All the other characters, boring. The sheriff doesn't add anything. Jamie's foster sister doesn't add anything. All the parents, all the other teenagers, they don't add anything. None of them really have any character other than that they're female, or that they're male, or that they're teenagers. And then they just die anyway. But then they die with no gore. They just die off screen or something. It's just awful. Boring characters. This soundtrack is devoid of life. It's lifeless, it's barren, it's desolate. All of the tracks are absolutely dull and boring, like a bunch of sounds stuck together, but it doesn't really amount to anything. There's revamped versions of the original Halloween music, of course, made more contemporary with more beats, more instruments put in, but really that just takes away from the original intensity of the music. Whereas the music used to be thrilling and interesting, and they've just kind of made it by the numbers and boring. This is a terrible soundtrack. It really is exactly the same flavour as the rest of the film. Ugh. Halloween 4 sports no story. If you think it sports a story, then it's simply aping the story of Halloween 1, but with less intensity, less interesting characters, less everything. It really doesn't have a story. There's barely a plot. In a place where you have no characters not really doing anything, and what they do isn't interesting, how's that a story? It's Michael Myers, he wakes up, he escapes, he tries to kill people, he gets finished. And when he does get finished, he just stands in the middle of the road and lets somebody run into him with a truck. He doesn't try and move, he just stands there. What sort of villain is that? And then he stands there and he lets all the police catch up to him, and they start to shoot him with their guns that just shoot sparks, and then he just disappears. And that's the end. There's no real payoff, you don't really care, it's just terrible. I can't comprehend some of the positive reviews that Halloween 4's got over the years. I assume it's from people who say that they like slasher films, but they really don't know what they're talking about. From all the slasher films that come out in the 80s, there were so many brilliant ones, and Halloween 4 is so flat and empty. It has no redeeming features. For a horror film, Halloween 4 is anti-scary. Halloween 4 has become a bit of a joke amongst me and my friends. With one of my friends, every birthday I used to buy him Halloween 4 every year, a different version on DVD or VHS. Also, whenever we were at his house and we were watching a film or a TV series, he'd go out the room to the kitchen or the bathroom to go to the toilet or make some dinner, and we'd put Halloween 4 into his DVD player or his video, and we'd just watch it from there. So when he came in the room, he'd have such a nice surprise. Every time we'd leave his house at the end of the day when he wasn't looking, we'd put Halloween 4 in his video, so that next time he turned it on, Halloween 4 would play. And if we knew that he wanted to watch a different film, when he wasn't looking, we'd put Halloween 4 into that box,